So by now, you've already watched the first lecture, and we went through things like range and standard deviation and standard error of the mean. Eventually, you're going to do a rotation. We're going to practice standard error of the mean. First, though, I want to do another standard deviation problem with you. So if you haven't gotten it out, grab your tables, graphs, and calculations worksheet. You can see on the bottom of page 2, you have to do a couple of them there. We're going to go and we're going to do number 17. I know it's probably marked out on your paper, but we're still going to use it as an example. To calculate standard deviation, here's the formula. You're going to be given this. You just need to know how to apply it. So all underneath the square root, we have the sum of your data points minus the mean. That will be squared, divided by n minus 1. Remember, n was sample size, and then x with a line over it, that means the mean or the average, and the x with I means your data points. I like to work in columns when we do this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to list our data points. So our heart rates are our data points, and there's 4 of them up there. So we had a 65, 63, 70, and 82. Now we have to figure out the mean or the average of those. So we're going to add them up and divide by 4. And I was nice and made it a nice even number. So 70 is the average. When I add them up and I divide by 4, I'm going to get 70. So here's the average of this data set. The formula tells us we're supposed to take the data point and we're supposed to subtract the mean from it. So we have them lined up here to do that. This would be -5. This would be -7. This one is 0. And then this one would be 12. We don't have to necessarily write the negatives because we're about ready to square them. That's the next part. So this value that we got, we need to square it. So our negatives are going to disappear if we do have negatives. We have 25, 49, 0, 1, 44. Now we're going to sum them. That's what that E means. We're supposed to add those up. And that's going to give us 218. This number that you just calculated is the top number. So if I have standard deviation equals, you just figured out this top number is 218. And then we have to divide it by n minus 1. N equals 1, 2, 3, 4. So n equals 4 because that's our sample size. So we're going to have 218, again that's under the square root, divided by 4 minus 1 is 3. So we need to plug that into the calculator. We need to do 218. So 218 divided by 3 and then hit your equal sign. That equals 72.6. 72.6. But I haven't square rooted it yet. I just took 218 divided by 3 and hit enter to get 72.6, and from there you hit your square root sign and that equals 8.5. So basically what that means is the standard deviation is 8.5. That means that on average these data points are about 8.5 off from 70, off from the mean. Now, as soon as you guys get done, everyone gets done with these 2 lectures I have here in classroom, then you're going to be doing a rotation at the lab tables. In a little bit, the sub is going to direct you guys to do this, but I'm just going to go through the directions here so you know exactly what to do. You're going to go to your assigned lab table. You all know where that's at. Whenever you get to your lab table, you're going to see that there's going to be a copy of a question, and you're going to see some graphs there on each table. And each table has a different piece of paper on it. So here's what you would find at table 1. You're going to find 4 different things on table 2, and so on. Your job is, as a group, to study the graph and answer the question. When you come to a consensus, an agreement, then just flip that paper over and the answer is on the back. So check to see if you're drawing conclusions accurately now that you guys know a little bit about standard error bars. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that per lab table, and then he or she is going to tell you to rotate. So table 1 moves to table 2 to table 3, and so on. The last table, table 7, is going to come back to table 1. Again, you're going to get about 2 minutes to kind of read through the example and then flip it over and check your answer. So I just ask that before you move away from a lab table, please make sure that the question side is up and not the answer side. Now, once you guys are done with this, you'll end up coming back to your desk, and then I expect you to be finishing up that tables, graphs, and calculations. You need to do any of the problems that you didn't get done on Wednesday, and then now you should be able to do the rest of the questions, the statistics. If you remember, I said to skip certain problems last class, and you probably circled those numbers. Well, now you're going to go back and you're going to complete those. Feel free, if you get them done by the end of class, to go ahead and hand them in, even though I'm not there to check them.